Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief, brought to you, as always, by Lay of the Land. We are day 137 of Israel's war with Hamas. Now, I do have to apologize. You might hear some intermittent banging or noise. There are renovations happening around me, but always through the chaos, we are here to bring you your news fresh from Israel. So let's take a look at the top stories. And last night, Israelis, if we thought our hearts couldn't be wrenched anymore, we watched the footage that the IDF had found of Shiri Bibas and her two young babies, Kfir and Ariel. Baby Kfir, who was abducted from his home on the 7th of October from the kibbutz of Nir Oz and taken into captivity by Hamas terrorists, has become the face of this conflict. A little baby with gorgeous red hair and a gummy, toothless smile. Now, the footage that IDF believe was taken in the first couple of days of the war is absolutely harrowing. They only showed the footage after getting approval and permission from the Bibas family. The footage shows Shiri taken. She is barefoot. She's holding both her babies, and she is covered with a piece of fabric. She was taken from Nir Oz to Khan Yunis, surrounded by 7 terrorists. Yes, you heard me right. 7 terrorists to surround this young mother and her 2 terrified tiny babies. She was then put into another vehicle and taken somewhere else. The IDF have said we still don't know the whereabouts. Just a couple of months ago, Hamas released another one of their psychological warfare propaganda videos where they showed the father, Yarden, who was very quickly separated, it seems, from his young family that he tried to protect, showing Yarden being told that his wife and 2 baby boys had been killed by an Israeli airstrike. Of course, we can't even begin to imagine the psychological terror and trauma of that. As I say, we still don't know the whereabouts of the Bibas family, contrary to some reports that they had been killed. That is not verified. Israel's President Isaac Herzog tweeted out, he said, there is only one word for this, and that is barbaric. One of the members of the Bibas family, believed to be an aunt, said the kidnapping of children is a war crime, and I echo that sentiment. Only savages kidnap babies. As we know, on the 18th of January, baby Kfir turned 1 year old in captivity. We want Kfir, Ariel, Shiri, and all of our hostages, including the bodies of hostages who have been murdered or were taken into Gaza on the 7th of October, home now. Bring them home now. The IDF chief spokesperson, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, said the IDF will not rest until they fulfill their mission of bringing all the hostages home. A Saudi newspaper, Elaf, broadcast or published a story that they believe, and according to an unnamed official or unnamed source, that Yahya Sinwar, the mastermind of the 7th of October atrocities and Israel's most wanted man, had escaped to Egypt. The reports alleges that Sinwar and his brother Muhammad escaped into Egypt through the tunnels that are underneath Gaza. Israeli officials deny this. They say they do not know of any reports that he has escaped. And one unnamed official said there are fears that Sinwar might have surrounded himself with hostages to use as human shields. The IDF Chief of Staff, Herzi Halevi, announced today that the IDF will be conducting an internal investigation into operational failures that led to the atrocities of the 7th of October. This is separate to any national investigation or the investigation that is currently underway by the state comptroller. It will be done internally and is likely to last several months. Israelis have many questions as to what happened, that our intelligence gathering amongst the best in the world, if not the best in the world, failed, and Hamas were able to perpetrate the worst massacre against the Jewish people since the Holocaust. And finally, we go to the United Kingdom, and Prince William, the Prince of Wales, has announced that over the next couple of weeks he will be undertaking engagements that will look at both sides of the conflict, or deal with communities affected on both sides. The Prince of Wales, who visited Israel several years ago, as well as the disputed territories, his great-grandmother is actually buried on the Mount of Olives. She is a righteous Gentile for her role in rescuing a Jewish family during the Holocaust. Will meet with aid workers who are working on the ground in Gaza, as well as meet young Jews who are impacted by anti-Semitism and who are fighting anti-Semitism in a synagogue. Soon after the attacks were perpetrated, the prince and his wife, Princess Catherine, along with King Charles, released statements condemning the Hamas atrocities, and have also met with Chief Rabbi Ephraim Mervis and various other members of the Jewish communities in the light and in the face of rampant anti-Semitism around the world. Now, just a short while ago, the prince released this statement. I'm going to read it to you, so I'm going to turn a little bit off camera to read off my screen. He says, "I remain deeply concerned about the terrible human cost of the conflict in the Middle East since the Hamas terrorist attack on the 7th of October. Too many have been killed. I, like so many others, want to see an end to the fighting as soon as possible. There is a desperate need for increased humanitarian support to Gaza. It's critical that aid gets in and the hostages are released. Sometimes it is only when faced with the sheer scale of human suffering that the importance of permanent peace is brought home. Even in the darkest hour, we must not succumb to the counsel of despair. I continue to cling to the hope that a brighter future can be found, and I refuse to give up on that." Now, that is a statement. That is a statement that shows empathy, that understands that there are two sides and that both sides are suffering. To the many around the world who are accusing Israel of genocide, or calling for ceasefires, or attacking minority communities, that is not so difficult to do, to show empathy, understanding and concern for both sides. As we say in Yiddish, the prince is a mensch, and I think he will be a very, very worthy future king. That brings me to the end of today's edition of the Israel Brief. Please don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our YouTube channel is right here at the Israel Brief. You guys know what to do. Like, share, subscribe. We are on Facebook at Lottel's site, on X at Lay of the Land 5. And guys, I wish you all a wonderful rest of your day. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Now we'll get you tomorrow for the Hump Day edition of the Israel Brief. I'm Rolene Marks. Bye for now.